So basically, within this research project, I went choosing to actually interview five different people. They're actually all my family members. I went choosing to interviewing my big brother Laisi, my other big brother Camille, my big sister Antoinette, and then my mom and dad. So the unique thing about my family is that my big brother and big sister, Laisi and Antoinette, they actually have a different dad than me. And my big brother Kimo, he has a different mom than me. So I would kind of wanted to get all those different kind of family trees and see how those all differ and all those little unique things about that. So some questions that I went asking them, a little kind of forecast, I would say, is that we really didn't go around to my questions in my discussion with my family. I'll get into more about that. So, just a few of my questions I went asking and said, do you know any history about the trans-Saharan or transatlantic slavery? Do you know if our family had any ties to slavery? And meaning, did we own any slaves, or were we slaves ourselves? If we did, who was our slaveholders, or where were we located, and all that kind of stuff. And then my other question was, do you know if our family had any important figures within slavery? So was our I forgot the word of it, but was he the healer, or was he a leader to was any of my ancestors leaders, or were they healers, like someone important within the African community? So that's just some of my questions that I went asking. So going back to the whole discussion about the questions. So when I first started talking to my family about the questions, they at first was like they can't really answer a lot of the questions I was giving to them. They basically were saying that they don't know as much history as I thought, and as well as what they thought they actually knew about my family. So they actually didn't really know any more history than what they knew than my great grandparents. They only know anything that my great grandparents told them. Anything else they didn't really know about. They didn't have no long family ties of knowing, oh, this is my great great grandparent or great great this. We just know to our great grandparents. So that was kind of interesting to know. So when we kind of talked about this, we couldn't really talk about all the way back to the wall. Like for some people, when we talked about it, we were actually talking about basically about the discrimination at the time with my great grandparents. What you call it? Experience. My mom actually told me a story that she told my mom once when she was little. It was actually about how when my great grandmother, when she was just a little girl, she was going to a store, and when she was going to a store, it was the usual color store and then for white store. And she said actually when she was going into the store, she actually had a white man come up to her, and when she did, she didn't look at him, which I thought was still kind of crazy. Because I heard this story back before when I was little too, and I just think that's still crazy that you couldn't even look at a person at that time. It still baffles me. But yeah, came up to her, she couldn't look, she answered to him, she had to show like the highest respect. Yeah, so she had to keep her head down, she showed him a lot of respect, and then she went into the store. She said the main difference about those stores just was how quality was, and that they had more stuff than what color stores got, and the color stores didn't look like they were as taken care of as the white stores. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. And then we just kind of talked about just more about my great grandmother. We didn't really talk a lot about my dad's side, just because my dad's side, we didn't have the best connection with my dad's side. So my dad's side, we didn't really know a lot of history about his side at all. So then I went bringing up about the DNA testing, and when we went talking about the DNA testing, the funny thing is my big brother and big sister, who have different dad than me, their dad actually took a DNA test and actually went telling them what their results were. I don't remember, they didn't remember all the tribes that they were part of, but for the tribe that they did have, it was like, let me look back into my notes, because somewhere in my notes, I'll say when I'm presenting. So, yeah, go live, AJ. But actually, my sister, they came from a tribe. They only remembered that one tribe, but they didn't remember the rest. So I went telling them to update me once they figure out more. They were going to talk to their father about it, but they couldn't get it back in time to talk to me about it. So I'm going to keep that updated. So yeah, and then my parents, they never took no DNA test, neither did my other big brother, and I never did. I'm actually excited because I want to get one before Christmas. I got a lot from this as well. I learned a lot about my family I didn't know before, as well as it kind of made me realize how much my family doesn't know a lot about our own heritage. So now that kind of got me into the whole works of, I need to discover my heritage. So I can't wait to start that. But yeah, that's really all I have, and thank you.